everybody. How's everybody doing today? All right. Well, it was a beautiful day. The weather's becoming fantastic. All of you people are people I love to hang out with, so thank you for coming. As I said before, my name is Flip Awesome Aguilera, and yes, my middle name literally is Awesome. And why would I even create an event like this, or what brought this into my mind? So there's an event in Miami where I was born that was very similar to this, and I didn't see it when I got here. So I decided when I go to my new place where I'm going to have a rebirth, if there are not things that I can't find, I need to create them. So here we are with Memoirs, True Stories, Unfiltered. And that's another thing. We have 2 ears, as they say, right, and 1 mouth, because we're supposed to listen more than we speak. And this event is for me to help me practice listening more and speaking less. So I did want to host just so that I can speak a little bit. So there's that. So that's why Memoirs exist at all now. So the theme today is rebirth. And as I said, I'm new to this town, so everything I'm doing here is a rebirth of everything I thought I was and who I'm trying to become. So it is a challenge because I moved here during a pandemic. I didn't know I was going to have a nice helping of pandemic during my move, but the universe gives you what it does, and you do what you do with it. So, as I said, there's these papers that you can write anonymous memoirs on. Please fill them out. They're usually fun, and people get a lot of good laughs out of them, and the basket to put them in is over there, back there next to that wall, so let's do that. I would also like all of you to put your hands together for 3 E's for allowing us to do it here. And if Eric is around, we'll have him come and say a few words. So I'd give yourselves a hand for being here. So thank you, all of you. And I would like to thank the speakers, which today are Vivian, Remington, and Danielle. I'm very much looking forward to everything you guys have to share with us. And your bartender, D'Angelo, back there, please take care of him. He's going to do a good job for us tonight, so make sure that we take care of him so he takes care of us. We are also the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Meetup. Like, share, and review the event so other people know what they're getting into when they come here, because you just know. It is Memoirs COS. Memoirs COS. Thanks, dear. I'd also like to thank my team, which is that's part of my team there. Maritza's my wonderful wife, and Samantha out in the front. She's also doing a fantastic job out there getting you all checked in. So if any of you are interested in being a speaker, you can email memoirscos@gmail.com, and we can get the speaker application over to you and get you in the lineup, in the pipeline for people that are going to speak. Last time people asked me about the music, so this time I will tell you I made a whole Spotify playlist. I will share it tomorrow on the group if anybody's interested in hearing the music that you heard today. It'll be up there. And last thing before we start is I'm going to be starting another event. And this one is going to be on May 19th at Kawadi, and this one is going to be called Nerd Night. So if anybody is super nerdy and has something they can teach us, please, again, talk to me so I can send you the application and get you on that list. And now, without further ado, Miss Vivian Cobbs is going to share with us the gifts of COVID. Ooh. Put your hands together, come on. Let's get her out here.
Good evening. Wow. Real people? On a real stage? Woo-hoo! I don't know. I think you all need to do this so it kind of looks like you're in a little box. With that little box, that's what I'm used to. It is so great to be here, and it is so awesome that Flip is doing this event, because storytelling is an extremely important part of our being human and our being connected to each other. It's through our stories that we relate to each other. And I am so excited to be a part of this. I know it's a weird topic or title, the gifts of COVID. It's a controversial thing to say. But getting COVID in my life last year was my rebirth. Some people would call it an awakening. Some people would call it a wake-up call. I don't care what you call it. It has completely changed my life. And I'm going to tell you how and why. A little bit about me. I'm one of these people who just does way too much, overcommits, busy all the time until I fall into bed, or like yesterday, I had one of those days where you just kind of hit that wall and you just have to stop and you just have to sleep and recharge. Kind of like the Energizer Bunny, right? I'm very much that way. Always have been. Have had an incredible amount of energy my entire life. And I've been very blessed that it has continued into my later life. But when I got COVID, I was stopped dead in my tracks. I've never had anything like that happen to me before. I've never been that sick. I laid in bed for 8 days by myself with 103 fever, and I couldn't move very much because every time I moved, I would start coughing and gasping for breath like you would not believe. So I would lay there as still as I could until my bladder was about to pop, and then I would figure out a way to get myself to the bathroom and then get right back into bed. And day after day just bled into each other. And I was so shut down. My body was concentrating so hard on trying to fight that invisible foe that I couldn't even watch TV. Can you imagine the most passive thing a human can do? And I couldn't even do that. It was too much. So all that was left was to go inside of myself, to go within. When I did that, I just had my thoughts. And you wouldn't believe the stuff you think about when you're really, really sick. Of course, I thought about my kids, and I was like, oh, my sweet children, I hope I get better. But the weirdest thing I thought about was my incredible miniature collection. I'm laying there almost dying, and I'm thinking about this collection that I've had my entire life that represents my entire life. I've collected little miniatures since I was this small as well. And I was thinking, I've had that thing in a box for 18 years. Why haven't I unpacked it? Why haven't I enjoyed it? Crazy, the things we think about when we're reflecting on our lives. But what I got to do during those hours and days when I could do almost nothing was I got to analyze, scrutinize what my life had been and what I want it to be if I survive. And so many things came to me. All the things that I've put off for years and years. Kind of like that collection in the box. Yeah. I thought, why have I let all this unimportant stuff, all this busyness, and I wasn't really doing very much. I was extraordinarily busy, but I didn't have anything to show for it. Why was that letting me or keeping me from the things that are really, really important? On the 8th day, something happened. Something incredible. I was laying there, and all of a sudden, I felt really comfortable and really serene and peaceful. And I felt this love, and like everything is okay. Not going to be okay, but is okay. And I just was surrounded by this incredible feeling. And I was really tempted to kind of drift that way. But I thought about my kids. And I thought, ooh, I don't think I'm ready to go just yet. The next morning, I couldn't wake up very well. And my sons were taking care of me, and they came in. And I said, guys, I think I need to go to the hospital. I think I'm in trouble. And they got me there. They flanked me on either side. They got me down the stairs somehow, got me to the hospital. And I was shocked. I thought the entire lobby was going to be full of people. Now, mind you, this was March of last year. So the town had just shut down. COVID was just becoming a thing. And I walked in, and there were 3 people. There was an admission person at one desk, there was a security guard, and there was somebody at another desk. And they looked at my boys and they said, one of you has to leave right now. You can't come in. And they had to make the decision of who stayed by whose phone was charged the most. So my youngest son stayed, and my oldest son went. And they had put me in a wheelchair. My back was to them. And I didn't have time to say goodbye or give them a hug. And it could have been the last time I ever saw them. I went into that room, and they took a chest x-ray, and I had COVID-induced pneumonia. They admitted me right away. They tested me. Back then, that was the only place you could get tested, were hospitals. And when they wheeled me out of the room, I saw this big, huge sign on the door, COVID-19. I felt like I had a scarlet letter or something on me. It's like, whoa. Anyway, they took me upstairs to the isolation ward, and they stuck me in a room all by myself. And God bless those healthcare workers. There was an antechamber to the room, and I could hear them walk in and suit up. Can you imagine how much courage that took back then when nobody knew how it was transmitted really? They didn't know hardly anything. And here they are putting on robes and masks and shields, gloves, and walking into that uncertainty. I was so impressed and so grateful. All I saw were eyes for days, except this one nurse. which is really interesting because he turns out to be my neighbor, lives on the same street with me. But he pulled up a chair and he sat down with me. And he talked to me for an hour every time he had a shift. God bless him. That was the only interaction I had, other than, of course, FaceTime with my daughter who lives in Boston, and my phone, my only connection to the outside world. On day 3, morning of the 3rd day at the hospital, I woke up, and the second I woke up, I knew I was going to get better. In that room, in that hospital room where I, all by myself, I felt so much love. It was tangible. I could touch it almost. And I realized it was the love of the people who were worrying about me, the people who were sending me prayers, the people who were sending me good vibrations, whatever. Doesn't matter what you call it. It was love. And I realized that love is what connects us. And love travels through everything. Wow. We are all connected through love. That is my gift of COVID, that I got to find that out. Wow. I got better. I got to go home. All went well. But it's taken me a few months of reflection to really grasp the implications of this experience. And for me to realize the changes that I need to make in my life and how unimportant so many things became. It changed my perspective. It's changed my choices. It's changed my relationships. I realized that there are some people in my life I had to let go of because they weren't connecting in a positive way. We all have those people in our lives. And it takes a lot of courage to walk away from those kinds of relationships. Of course, when I got better, what did I do? I unpacked that miniature collection. And I just love it so much. And I enjoy it. I learned to be connected to the things that I enjoy in my life. And not put so much importance on what everybody else wants me to do. Again, takes courage, but it's so worth it. This rebirth has allowed me to focus on my dreams, who I want to be in this world, with the time that I have left. It's also taken away all the fear that I had. Fear of dying. Fear of not being good enough. All that fear, all that negative talk that's in our heads. In that moment that I told you about, when I felt blissful, that's one thing I remember. All those negative thoughts went away. It was incredible. We as humans have so much capability. We operate at a fraction of what we're capable of. Letting the power of love, seeing and operating through the eyes of love, will elevate us. And our world needs that so much now, more than ever. So I encourage you, don't wait till you have a terrible illness or a near-death experience. Take your life, look at it really carefully. If you can, try and step back and be quiet and still long enough to really assess what you're doing and why. And if there are changes to be made, know that it's worth it. It is so worth it to step into your own rebirth and be the person you want to be. That's my gift, and I share it with you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow.
Let's hug it out again.
Okay, hug it.
Thank you very much. All right, so what did you think of that first story? It's very powerful. Thank you for sharing your love with us. All right, so right now we only have one anonymous thing in here, so I need you guys to get to... There's plenty of pens. There's plenty of papers. You're supposed to read it. I tried to read it, but I only got a few words out of it. Not that my handwriting is the best. So do your best.
Okay.
My bowels were reborn.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it said. Bowels. My bowels were reborn the night I tried gelato. Prior to my gelato experience, I had never felt the warm, chunky trickle of leg feces. Oh, this is lovely. The incredible red flush on my face as I rode on the something of my mom's Suburban, fully shit-covered, exposed to hundreds of my partying neighbors as their home overlooked me hosing off naked outside. This is quite the it's a great visual right there. Or the continued gelatinous blowouts that continued through that night. Truly a shitty rebirth. All right.
Thank you again. Mwah. All right, guys, we're going to start some music up. We have about 15 minutes, and next we will have our boy Remington on the stage. So have a good time. Go get some more drinks. Remember Tip D'Angelo. He's got a cool name. So that just for that, it's a good reason. And we'll see you in about 15. All right, everybody, let's get back to it. But before we introduce our next speaker, I'm going to read a memoir. Our next speaker is going to read a memoir. So let's see what we got here. All right, are we ready? This is very small handwriting. So, moving to Colorado Springs is my rebirth. I was running out of options, fell into a state of negativity, and never realized I wasn't fully living. Moving here, I have met so many wonderful people, learned there is more to life than small towns, and that the right people will see my worth. I am a healthcare worker who has survived COVID-19 and still continue to fight for those who need me. Despite how bad the last year has been, I have learned so much and feel like a better CNA for it. In Colorado Springs, I feel like I'm going to finally live my best life. Ooh. All right, so whoever that is, thank you for sharing that. And now I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Remington, and he looks like a Remington. Yeah, so Remington, and his story is titled From the Depths to the Surface. Ooh. All right, there he is.
We'll see how this goes. All right, guys. Thank you all for coming out. These lights are kind of weird, to be honest. All I see is orange and red. That's even worse. My name is Remington, for all of you who don't know me. And we're going to kind of go on a little journey tonight. I kind of believe that rebirth is one of those things that some people see as a one moment in their life. And I've had a lot of those moments, to be honest. That's why I have a little card here to guide me through this journey with us. So just to start out here, I'm from Colorado originally, and born in Steamboat, and I was raised actually by my grandparents for a little bit. Then I moved to Saudi Arabia for a while. Give me a second here, I gotta breathe. It's actually a lot more nerve-wracking than you think it is. She made it look easy, I'll make it look hard. When I moved to Saudi Arabia, I was with my mother, and my mom was a dentist for the Royal Harem. So at 7 years old, between 5 and 7, I got to experience a different country, and that was a very interesting time for me. I went to probably over 17 countries by the age of 10 years old. So I got to experience the Middle East a lot when I was younger, and I learned a lot from it. And that was probably one of my first rebirths. I got to understand that the world is a lot bigger than the United States of America. A lot of people are boxed in and think that this is the world, and it's really not. And so when I came back, I'm going to put this right here so I can just read it. So when I came back, we came back to Colorado Springs, and about this time I was 10 years old, and my mother sent me to St. John's Military School in Salina, Kansas. I was in 6th grade, 10 years old, and I had to fend for myself pretty much, all the way up until I was 17 years old. So my senior year of high school, I decided to come back and go to Pine Creek, and after being there for 7 years, I didn't really know what real society was, to be honest. So that was another rebirth for me. I had to figure it out. I didn't know anything really. It was pretty scary. I went to an all-boys military school with 200 cadets. It was a lot different. And then when I came out, I was very lost, and that was my second real rebirth that I can remember. And then let's see here. Oh yeah, this is a big one. So when I was 19 years old, I actually met my father for the first time. And that was very, very detrimental to who I was, especially after I'd left military school 2 years prior. It was just kind of another monkey wrench to give me fun in the sun. It was an interesting time in my life. And then when I was 21, he died. So at 21, I had another moment in my life that I was just completely lost. And I had to kind of find a way and a path. And so I decided 2 years later to go become an underwater welder. I was a commercial diver, and I went to school in Florida. Then I worked in the Gulf of Mexico. I saw a lot of cool stuff. It was, I like to joke and say I went down for money. But That was not planned at all. Sorry. But I just had a quarter in my pocket. And so, I did that for a little bit. I was in the Gulf of Mexico for about 2 years. Then I started working inland. I was diving in water towers. I was building cofferdams for hydroelectric plants. I dove in a nuke plant. And then I was in Garrison, North Dakota. And I actually have a picture of the day. The owner of the company, we were in Garrison, North Dakota in the reservoir, and we were installing the pumps to supply the city down below with water. And they were about 900-pound pumps, and I was going down, and I was going to seat the pump and finish the project, and we were all going to be done. About 7 minutes into my dive, I just didn't feel right. I've been diving since I was about 13 years old. I'm a scuba diver instructor, I'm a dive medic, and I was a commercial diver. I'd slept underwater. So something wasn't right, and I told them, I said, guys, I don't feel good. What's going on up there? And they're like, oh, no, you're fine, man. I was like, I don't really feel good. So I'm coming up. And then, the next thing I know, I blacked out. So when I came to, I was standing on the deck of the barge that we were working on, and I came to like this, and they were taking off my hat and my gloves, and I was like, "What just happened?" And they're like, "I don't really know." The crane was on and all this stuff. And turns out I took a CO hit at 90 feet, and in about 9 minutes I would have died. I was breathing on the tailpipe of a crane, so diesel exhaust, and it was a very defining moment. And I was a medic, so everybody there relied on me to take care of them, but I got put in a shit situation where they didn't know what to do with me. So I had to kind of do a wheel and try and figure it out, and I was puking for about 2 days, 3 days straight. It was actually pretty scary, but like another part of me was just like, it's not the way I'm going to go. So it was really bad having a headache and puking a lot. And then, I was like, I'm still going to be an underwater welder. Like, that's not going to be the end of me. And so we went to Arkansas, and 2 weeks later, we actually T-boned a semi. And I was in the front seat, and the car was totaled. The flatbed was pretty much totaled too. And at that juncture, I was like, there's something telling me I can't be here anymore. I can't be doing this. And so I actually hopped on a flight, quit underwater welding, and I've never done it since. I came back home, and I was about 26 when that happened. And at 27 years old, when I came home, 26, 27, I decided, I still love construction, but I just can't do it, and I can't have a family, and I can't put myself in unsafe conditions. So that was a very defining life, and that's probably one of my biggest rebirths in my life when that happened. So 27 years old, I went back to college, and I got a job working as a project engineer for a commercial construction company here in town. And that was, I finally found my bliss. My mom always told me when I was a kid just to do whatever I wanted to do, but always find my bliss and never settle in that. And so I finally found my bliss when I was in construction, but there was still something else that I just didn't ever have. There was just an empty thing that I didn't know what it was. I kept having experiences in my life that pushed me in certain paths that I would classify as rebirths, and I can't define one because they all led to another one. And it's a journey that we all have, and if you don't take the time to reconcile and see those, you're never going to realize that every single step of the way has pushed you in a certain direction and to see the bigger picture. And then, about a year and a half ago, I finally saw the bigger picture. Try not to cry too. I met my wife.
Do it.
No, fuck y'all. I met my wife Cassie. She's right over there, and my kids. So that was my actual rebirth that I finally found. That all pushed me to one spot. And in hindsight, I finally see it. But going through all those experiences is a path that I had to go through to make me the man that I needed to be for my family. And I wish I wasn't crying now, but I am. But, I guess my story of Rebirth is just a journey that, I can't define it as one moment until the moment actually happened. And they all compounded to that one moment. And like I tell my wife, like, you got me. And she's like, are you nervous? I'm like, no, but okay. But, I guess my biggest thing that I'd tell you guys is take the time to reflect on the past in every single moment that did define you, because they're there if you choose to see them or not. You need to use them as keys to an entire puzzle that you finally have to put together at some point in your life. And if you can't do that, or take the time to do that, you're missing the value of life. And I finally found that value. So that's really my story. Hopefully I kept it to 15 minutes. So.
Put this back once. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Let's hug it out. All right. Now you get to choose one of these and read it out loud.
I'm going to choose them away.
We have another anonymous memoir.
Yeah, I'm not. At the age of 19, I did salvia, which is a hallucinogen, which made me trip so hard that I felt I was just given birth to and knew nothing. All right.
Let's see.
What'd you get?
I'm going to read one here. So here we have, one time my son and I were driving past a cemetery, and my son pointed out the window and said, "Look, Mommy, that's where you belong." Needless to say, I was totally shocked. Then I asked why, and he said, "Because you love flowers, and that's where everyone brings pretty flowers." So my rebirth moment was when I thought my son was plotting my demise. All right, we've got one more speaker to go. We're going to put some music on. Have a good time. We'll see you in a few minutes. Is everybody having an intriguing, engaging time tonight? Is everybody's mind engaged with all these stories and all these emotion? So anytime they say men are not emotional, remember Remington. Biggest, good-lookingest guy, he's feeling it too. So again, thank you for sharing that with us. So, let's see, we have another anonymous memoir. My rebirth after my divorce was heavily influenced by a good, I think that says mind, who is disgustingly positive. He showed me adventure and taught me the importance of building relationship with others. I am now a better human. Awesome. So that's cool. So now let me read all these things before we bring our last superstar speaker to the stage. So let's thank 3E's again. Thank you, Eric, wherever you are. And I hope you guys have been taking care of D'Angelo. I just love his name. This is D'Angelo. Super cool. And again, Memoirs COS on the Instagram, on the Facebook, on Meetup. Please like, share, and review so that people know what they're getting into when they come here. And let's see. If you would like to get in the pipeline to be a speaker, again, memoirscos@gmail.com. So we can send you the application to speak, and we will meet and get you in that pipeline. Spotify for the playlist. You can follow Flip Aguilera, and it'll be there. And again, Nerd Night, May 19th. It's a Wednesday at Kawadi. So I read this already, so now we're going to ask Miss Danielle McCarthy to come to the stage. And she's a witty one. That's yours. Let's hug it out. I love hugs.
Oh my goodness, yes.
All right. Let's go, friend. Do it.
Alrighty. So, you didn't tell him what the title was. So the title of my speech is WTF. We all know what that means, right? What the fuck? So some of you in the room know my story, some of you don't. We're going to go on a journey together. I'm still on this journey because 4 years ago, Father's Day, it'll be 4 years on Father's Day this year, I lost my husband very unexpectedly. And becoming a widow was not fun. I also became a Gold Star spouse. And for those that may not know what a Gold Star spouse is this when a military member dies either in action or because of their service-related disabilities or injuries. Prior to his death, 8 weeks, is where the WTF really started. May 1st, I went in for a surgery. 45 minutes, supposed to be a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, you're done. Turned out 8 hours on the table, came off severely anemic, not doing so well. Really wasn't supposed to come off the table from what I'm understanding. My family was told, we'll get her through this. 2 weeks later, I was back in the hospital. This time with sepsis. If you know what sepsis is, it means your body can no longer fight off the infection that it has. I had 2 raging infections. And again, my family was told, she's not going to make it through the night. She really shouldn't make it through the night. Obviously, I still stand here before you. Fast forward another 2 weeks, the beginning of June 2017. I'm re-hospitalized, this time with blood clots in my lungs. 15 per lung is where they stopped counting. 1 will kill you. Statistically, I shouldn't be standing here in front of you. That was June 4th through June 10th. My husband died June 17th. Father's Day. I have 4 sons. I had the pleasure of giving that information and delivering that information at 2 o'clock in the morning. I started referring to my life as #HotMessExpress because that's what it was. Michael Bernard Beckwith, an amazing author, speaker, has a definition of dark night of the soul. And that's where I found myself in 2017, coming through 2018, kind of coming through at 2019, 2020 really gave me an opportunity to really kind of solidify what that was and how to come out of it, and I'm still coming through it. So a dark night of the soul is very simple. The identity that you had is instantaneously ripped off from you, and you no longer identify with it. The new one hasn't yet presented itself, and you are standing in the room, and there's no light, there's no up, there's no down, there's nowhere that you can even see where you're going. To refer to yourself as #HotMessExpress. And you have to understand, during this time, I'm on oxygen full time. So I can't even do the most basic of human functions, which is convert oxygen to carbon dioxide, without the support of an oxygen tank at my side. You want to talk about feeling like the lowest of the low, not knowing where the hell you're going and what your life is doing, emotionally, physically, mentally, and financially devastated. Spiritually, there was nothing either. Because God has a sense of humor, October of that year, I would find out I would need a corrective surgery. I'm still anemic. I'm on enough Oxy and Vicodin and now Xanax to cover my anxiety that I could have taken, that it would take out a small elephant. I could have ended it really well, really fast, very easily. I jokingly mentioned to my nurse practitioner when she asked me, "Are you suicidal?" And I said, "Well, suicide is painless. MASH taught us that." She didn't think it was really that funny. And then she goes, "No, are you considering suicide?" And I said, "Only in the mornings, Tuesdays, and bank holidays." So I use movie quotes, pop culture, to heal and to make fun of light. So if you know those references, Only in the Morning, Brad Pitt, Ocean's 11. Tuesdays and bank holidays, Lilo and Stitch, right? So fast forward to 2018. By this point in time, I have a friend who is paying my rent because I can't. My business is shot. My income is gone because all of our income was based on my husband's disability payments. Fast forward to 2018. And I wasn't going to share this, but I'm going to because a friend of mine sitting next to me said, follow your heart. 2018 opens with the funeral home I used to cremate my husband being raided by the FBI. I shit you not. At this point, I'm to the point where every single day I am saying, what the fuck? What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck? What am I supposed to be learning? Fuck you, I'm done. I'm done. But I can't be done because I have 4 amazing sons. I later find out in April of that year, 2018, that my husband was not, in fact, cremated. He was dismembered and sold. My husband's body parts, plural, are still sitting in an FBI meat locker in the Denver metro area, awaiting trial. In the meantime, I'm still dealing with my health issues. This all took place in a little town called Montrose, Colorado. I suggest visiting it, buying gas, and keep on moving. Don't visit. Because, what the fuck? If you want to read more about it, the Denver Post has a great article in which myself and fellow victims did an interview back in 2018. The picture you see of myself in that Denver Post article is literally the day I am moving my entire house. My house is in a hashtag Hot Mess Express. What the fuck are we doing? The moving truck's in the driveway. My son's packing it. My other son is packing boxes, and I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, other than I was gifted 6 months free by a friend to live in Green Mountain Falls in an amazing cabin. I took the last $2,000 to my name to rent that truck and haul myself, 2 of my sons, a nutsoid dog who I swear we gave edibles and Benadryl and a tranquilizer to, and she still did not stop moving the entire 5-hour drive. The other dog was just kind of like, hey, this is pretty cool. The other dog's like, hey, what are we doing? This is awesome. And I'm just like, okay, we're done. I knew 2 things at that moment in time, and I had to learn to trust. And I build my life on a year. Every year I build my life based on one word. This year, 2021, the word was trust. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Again? We gotta go through this shit again? Okay, let's do it. So you see me up here trusting. You see me up here in a rebirth. Recently, I found an organization that supports Gold Star families called TAPS, Tragedy Assistant Program for Survivors. I reached out to them in November because the last several years I've been very angry. I think I have a small reason to be angry. I keep double checking. Most people say it's valid. I now don't walk around feeling the need I need to throat punch somebody with a dagger, which is good, right? And while I was going through there, because I'm still on my grief journey, this bullshit of grief stops after 30, 60, 90, 1 year is bullshit. I was married for 25 years. I married at 18. I met him and started dating him at 17. I met him for real when I was 15 going on 16 and thought he was the biggest jerk on the planet and I was the biggest bitch. It worked out well. Because, 25 years later, 4 sons, multiple military tours, hardship tours, combat, we survived it all. We survived 20 years in the VA system, not disparaging the VA system by any means. I'm still on my grief journey. Sitting there this weekend at this event that I didn't know I was going to until Thursday night, 24 hours before you're supposed to check into the hotel, still going, what the fuck am I doing? Why the hell am I here? So I went through the weekend, and I kept finding myself going, okay, I still don't understand what I'm doing here. I kind of know how to process this, heard this, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. Saturday night, I'm sitting at dinner with the vice president of the organization. She's like, what are you doing tomorrow? I was like, I don't know. Now, mind you, I have my big name tag, and it says spouse, Army, first timer. And I've got a button of my husband sitting here so that everybody can see who my husband is. And I'm not one typically to share a lot about my grief journey. When I do share my grief journey, it's because I've processed it, I'm comfortable with sharing it, and if anybody has anything to say about it, I don't care. I really don't. But there's also part of my grief journey that I don't share. Because everybody tells me, wow, you're so strong, you're so resilient. Well, I'm here to tell you, strong doesn't always feel strong. Resilience is an amazing tap into the source of the universe. I don't know where that strength comes from. But what you see standing before you tonight is strong. But you also don't see me at 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm still going, hashtag Hot Mess Express, what the fuck. So in 2018, through the FBI investigation, finding out all I needed to find out about what was going on, I said, okay, I need to flip the mind switch on this. As a life coach, I need to flip the mind switch on this. WTF cannot stand for what the fuck anymore. It really can't. It's causing me damage. It's causing those around me damage. If I'm going to get through this and get my kids through this, I have to change this. So what the fuck now means, WTF means what the future. Because I have to tell you, when you're standing there in that dark night of the soul, and you can't trust anything, yourself, your breath, the people around you. I didn't even want to pick up my foot because even though the ground was crumbling beneath me, it was something solid I could touch. I had to learn how to pick up my foot literally and figuratively and trust that as I picked up, that it was going to be okay and it was going to work and I was going to step forward into the future. What the future? So I started a new career as I moved over. I started 2 new businesses. I had $2,000 in my bank account at the time when I came over my mountains. And yes, by the way, those are my mountains. Just thought you should know. I am a shiny, sparkly unicorn, Colorado Springs native, born and raised. So I came back home. That's where I met my husband. That's where I knew him. And said, okay, we're doing this. What are we doing? And like I said, I knew 2 things. I knew where I was living for 6 months, and I knew to the penny how much was in my bank account. I had no idea where I was storing the 16-foot moving truck and everything that was packed. And God, my son did a great job of Tetris on the back of that truck. I didn't even know where I was storing that. Got to the U-Haul place and said, I need to rent the truck a little bit longer. What can you give me for 2 to 3 days until I find a place to store my stuff? And he said, oh, well, you just you just rented. You get free storage for 30 days. What the fuck? Okay, cool. And then I stopped myself and I was like, nope, what the future? So anytime I find myself in that space of WTF, I still allow myself to say what the fuck. I try not to say my life is hashtag Hot Mess Express because it's really not anymore, although it is fun to say. And I remember to breathe. And as you see, I'm no longer on oxygen. I happily came off of that in 2018 after my corrective surgery. And I started looking for the wonder in life. My word for 2018 was wonder. And it meant, well, and actually it was wealth. And it meant wonder, energy, alchemy, learning, thriving, healing. Boy, howdy, did I need all that shit in 2018, right? 2019, the word was money. And you're like, well, of course it was. You were financially devastated. Nope. I wanted it to mean manifesting opportunities for new energy yields. And I got to do some amazing things that year. Things that I had done as a child, because I've been feeding the giraffes at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo since I was 1. I'm now 47. That is my favorite thing to do on the planet. That year, I got a behind-the-scenes tour for my birthday. I got to pet the okapi, which, oh my God, was amazing. He is as soft as he looks. Just saying. That chocolate velvet coat, amazing. By the way, he's a giraffe family, not a zebra, even though he's got the zebra butt. Yeah, I'm a big nerd. Just putting that right out there. I also got to camp on Pikes Peak, something I hadn't done since my 20s, when my husband and I were safety crew for the Pikes Peak Hill Climb Association. And I got to hike and camp on a part of the peak that most of the public doesn't get to see. this amazing moonscape at 11,000 feet, and you're going, well, wait, the person with lung damage and oxygen was camping at 11,000 feet? Boy, howdy, yeah, I was. Happily. Since my husband's death, I say yes to everything, and I figure it out on the other side because I haven't been given a choice. And here's what I'm going to leave you with tonight. By the way, the DOJ case, FBI thing is still open. They should be, arrests were made in 2020 over COVID after a 2-year investigation. 600, 800 families affected. Love mantras. Again, don't visit. Just stop and get gas and keep going. When life throws you what the fuck moments, stop and remind yourself what the future, and breathe. I get to read one of these?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, these have been so much fun. This rebirthing story, child number 1, at home, 10 p.m. at night, on all fours, a position I swore I'd never find myself in. Every birthing video I ever saw said no way. There I was, and after she arrived, I swore I was having a boy. Boys are the best, by the way. Girls are awesome, too. No way was I going to be fit to be a mom of a sweet little girl. They pulled back the blanket and I said, where's his penis? I would have asked the same thing at number 4. I thought parts were missing, but that sweet little girl changed me, and I decided to do it again and again. 2 more, boys born at home, and rebirthing experience like no other. Nice.
All right, everybody, put your hands together for Danielle, Remington, Vivian, and I'd like to call all the speakers upstage so we can take a picture and really have everybody clap for you even harder. And then we will get some music going and continue to have a good time for the rest of the evening. Now, let's say all these things again. Again, I want to thank Eric from 3Es. Thank all of you for being here because you guys are amazing. You guys are the ones that create this vibe that these speakers can surf on or something like that, right? Does that make sense? The next memoirs, the theme will be Your Mother Should Know. Now, this next memoirs, because we do this on the last Monday of every month, we are going to move it one Monday sooner, so it'll be, I believe it's May 24th. We'll confirm that. And the reason we're doing that is so that we don't have to fight against Memorial Day. I want all of you guys to, May 24th. I want you guys to have a good Memorial Day, have fun, and not worry about cutting your vacation short because you have to come here to hear these stories. Get over here.
This is what I'm saying.
Get over here. What the future? So give these fantastic people a hand for having the courage to get up here and share their story. All right, and give yourselves a hand for being amazing and awesome and supporting a local place, local business, local idea. Yeah, we're here until 9, so until then, let's have a good time, put some music on. I'm going to have a shot with Titus, I know that. And enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. Thank you for your time and attention. It's the greatest gift we can give to each other.